Cornucopias is a cutting-edge open-world MMO set in a world where humanity has ascended from the Earth's surface and created a breathtaking new world in the sky. This fantastical realm is a system of floating islands carved from the land we once called home, now encased in radically advanced dome-shaped structures suspended high above the clouds. Each one is a futuristic marvel with its own unique environment, identity, and thriving communities. It is within these domes the epic journey begins. Here, players take control of their own personal avatar, which gives them the freedom to choose their destiny. Be immersed in vast landscapes, explore vibrant settlements, and engage in a myriad of activities such as crafting, commerce, combat, racing, and more. Welcome to a world where the sky is no longer the limit.
Hey everybody, welcome to Copi Cafe. This is episode number 91 and you've got Rob Gregg here and Josh Jones. I'm excited about this episode. I've been excited since last week when we decided what we would be discussing a little bit, which actually that's a historical moment right there when we've decided something about Copi Cafe a week prior. That's
good point. Yeah, that's never happened.
Fairly rare.
We have 10 minutes
Normally
notice.
we plan this 10 minutes ahead. And as we've said before, that's just because we want to keep it casual and something that we can repeat and continuously execute on. And that means making it as easy as possible. We've always looked at ways to improve the show, and we're intending to do so. But at the same time, we want to keep pre-production to a minimum so that we can show up for you guys every week. So that's what we do. We're thankful to you guys in our community. We've got a great show ahead. We're going to talk about the SPO. Stake pool offering. We're going to talk about nodes. Really cool announcement on nodes. We have a massive leak with David coming on. And then we have a couple questions. So let's just get right into it. Rob, what are you drinking, man?
Yep. We got a pretty good episode.
Pretty good episode.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have grape and apple and ginseng.
Rejuvenate.
It
says rejuvenate.
I think this
the marketing is leading me to believe that it's what?
I think this episode is going to rejuvenate everyone.
Yeah. Okay. Well done. Marketing's leading me to believe that's a healthy drink, but if you look at the back, what's the sugar content and the carbs? Just curious. It's not focused. You tell me, man.
All green, one orange.
Okay.
It's very healthy because I can't open it, so I ain't going to be able to drink it.
Do you know what this brand is, Rob?
Ooh, no.
You wouldn't. Only, and a lot of people in the States wouldn't probably. It's Buc-ee's. But I'm drinking my regular iced coffee since it's earlier today than earlier in the day than
I managed to open it. Is that what you get out of it? Oh, it's enough, I suppose.
Let us know in the comments if you know what Buc-ee's is. It's a fun road trip.
Start a trend.
Stop.
Book that trend.
All right. So the SPO, we have we have a great announcement on the SPO as well. But I'm going to save that for the end of this discussion. We had some questions and concerns from the community that we didn't announce exactly the amount of tokens, COPI tokens for the SPO. And the reasoning for that was a lot of variables in play here. We had an idea in mind, so we'll just go ahead and share the idea with you. Basically, it's going to be the earlier of 1 year or up to 15 million COPI. The only reason I say up to 15 million COPI, we're going to try to get as near to that as possible. Ideally, we just have a clean cutoff that ends at an epic. That was another reason that we haven't announced the exact amount of tokens, because we just want to have a clean cutoff. So when we're nearing 15 million Copi, or if it's a year and we're nowhere near 15 million, we'll just cut it off then. And the reason that variable is there is because, well, volatile markets. I mean, Copi and ADA and the pricing and the pairs, and that's the way it works. It changes the outcome significantly, and so it's hard to predict. So, but you guys have requested that information. I want to make sure you're aware of it. We want to give you as much info as we can. That's what we're doing. So if the pool ends up being oversaturated, well, then that's another concern. It's not looking like it'll be that way at this point, but we do have a fun announcement here coming up in a minute that might change that. But when a pool is oversaturated, there's nothing we're going to do about that. We're just going to have this one pool. We're not going to go open up another pool on this. It'll just be one pool, and oversaturation means it should self-moderate, because everybody's rewards are diminished somewhat the more oversaturated it gets. So maybe some people will leave naturally as a result of that. And we don't even know that that's going to happen. But that's the point of the saturation level of 64 million Copi. So how are you feeling about that, Rob? Was that a good response to that one?
Yeah, I think that clears it up. I've seen lots of chatter. People, that is the main concern.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we can clear that up.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors at play here. We wanted to get it going, and hopefully this relieves some of the concerns that some people had, because there are a variety of things that we really needed to look at before we gave that answer. But there you go. The next one is, we have heard some feedback, and we're looking at where the pool is at. I want to see you guys improve these rewards. So we're going to bump up the 105% to 115% on the Copi side. So that means the bonus is increasing by 10%, which is huge. I mean, that's a fun announcement. So cheers to that. Enjoy the pool, folks. And thank you for supporting us. And you're also supporting Cardano and the decentralization of the network, etc. So there we go. Okay, next up is nodes. We have some fun stuff to talk about there as well. And Rob, this is your baby. So you want to just kick us off with the new development that we've been working on for a few weeks?
Yep. So we had Greg on last week. He gave us some information about the nodes. Since Greg joined us, we've been looking at the architecture, and we've come up with some updates for it. Mm-hmm. So the system is on track. We're doing internal testing. It will go live to a point on the 1st of July. That's when all the NFT licenses will be distributed. So like we said before, you'll be able to run your own what we're going to call a node pool server. So you'll be able to run your own node pool server from your hardware and run all your node licenses on. That is, as we've said before. And then also now what we're introducing is let's say that's for the technical people that want to run their own hardware. We're also offering a subscription solution for those that are non-technical. And the way this will work is, if you subscribe to this service, it will be a very, very low fee. You will
it will be market commensurate,
mm-hmm. Yeah.
which is pretty low based upon our research. So we'll be competitive with the market costs for getting that service. Go ahead.
Yep. And then when you have that, you'll be able to go into your player account. All of this requires a player account, whether you're hosting your own nodes or you want to use this service. And what you will then be able to do is you will then be able to delegate your node to be run by a public pool, or so you can choose one, or automatically delegated to pools. And what that means for people,
for the auto delegated, that might be a while. That's just on the road.
Yeah, all of this is on a roadmap. We will release a deck within the next few weeks to explain all of this that we're going through in detail, because I know there'll be lots and lots of questions about this from a node pool operator's point of view.
Ideally.
Say that again?
Next few days, ideally. But go ahead.
Yeah, definitely days. So so from a node pool operator's point of view, the information that you need to know at this point, if you want to turn your pool into a public pool and then be able to have delegates find you or be auto delegated to you, you will need a minimum of 8 node NFT licenses. So if you have 8, you'll then be able to go into the Cornucopias player account. There'll be a new node section available on the 1st of July onwards, and we will add all the information in there along with the deck.
Yeah, which is great explanation. So now that basically means you have a solution that's quite easy from within your player account, where you can delegate your node if you and pay that subscription. We don't know exactly how the pricing is going to work for that just yet, but we know that it will be market competitive with market for if you were going to look elsewhere, which is your option. It's your NFT. You can do that how you want, but it will always have to be assigned to the Cornucopias player account. So there's certain criteria that's involved here, which is number one, you've created a player account and your NFT is active in a wallet inside that account. That's one of the main things. Number two, for each node license, you have to have 3,000 COPI token associated with it, up to 5. After 5 node licenses, there's no news. So there's a maximum of 15,000 COPI that you have to hold on to there to keep that node license active. And then the other criteria that we mentioned was you would need to have 8 to be a public pool operator. So to have 8 node licenses, once you have 8 node licenses, that qualifies you for being a public pool operator, which then means you're providing that service to those that are non-technically inclined, and you're earning additional rewards. And those rewards, the one thing that I would want to specify there, those don't come out of the 26 million COPI. That comes out of that comes from those that are non-technically inclined. They will be paying those rewards. So that doesn't dilute the existing reward pool. There's a lot more information to come. We know this was very basic, and that's going to raise a ton of questions. So that deck is hopefully going to come out in the next several days from this episode, and we'll give you a lot more information. And just to kind of say one more thing on that, it's a decentralized network, and there's a good amount of complexity here. So we're figuring out a lot, and we've put a lot of work into this, but there's still quite a bit of fine tuning that's going to need to take place. And this is going to be released in phases over time. And so one thing we will do is try to give you a little bit of a roadmap on how that's going to work once July 1st starts. So we'll give that information as well.
Yeah, and the interface will be super easy. It'll be super easy to create your own node pool server, and it'll be super easy to delegate. So yeah, don't worry about that.
And one thing that's important to note, as we've said before, the goal is to provide a quality onboarding experience for the end user, the gamers. And that means that eventually we're going to get to a place where quality of service is required, to get maximum reward potential, right? So eventually there will be an algorithm that calculates uptime and a variety of different things. And we don't have that perfectly figured out yet. That will be gradually unfolded as well, because we're going to need to just optimize and look at the data and see how things are going. So that will be a changing deal. But starting off, it's going to be great for everybody, and then it's going to get more and more. Okay, we need to make sure these are all active and we're providing good service and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, so we think we've got it figured out. Look out for that deck.
Yeah, look out for the deck. Okay, what we have next is, well, David's coming up, but let's go ahead and get some questions out of the way before we get David up for our giant leak.
Okay, the first question is from Levi. He wants to know about the node deck. He says that rewards are going to happen on the 1st of July, and he wants to know if we can speak about how rewards will be handled before and after July the 1st.
Yeah, that's a good question, and that will all be coming in the deck. So a lot of these details we're still nailing down, so we'll get you that very, very soon. Okay.
Yeah. And
Next
it is
question.
very soon because, like you said, it's within days. So that's good. Question from Pinball Ninja from the Mafia. He wants to know. His question is actually for David.
Okay.
He wants to know: will the fedora be part of the hats in the next update to the Avatar Creator?
Yes, no, it will not. It will not be in the next one. So the hat has a lot of complexity, but I do believe beards and are glasses going to be part of the next one. I know beards are going to be part of the next one. Maybe not.
I don't
glasses.
know.
Glasses and hats have a different kind of complexity. More so glasses than hats, I believe, because there's so many moving sliders and morphs that are interconnected there. So those are a little bit harder, but beards are definitely coming next.
Yeah, and with hats, you've got to squash your hair down and do all and so many different hairstyles.
And I'm really pleased with the first iteration of the Avatar Creator. But as previously mentioned, we have a big vision for it. So we're just getting started. But for just getting started and to be at the level that we're at, that's commensurate with other mainstream games out there that have actually created these systems of this kind of complexity, we've done an excellent job. I'm really proud of the team, and actually, it's really exciting to see those community contributions. We did announce the 5 that have been chosen, so the community is going to vote on that. I believe for the celebrity avatar lookalikes. You guys did a great job on that, and we have more coming soon with the Avatar Creator as well. But we'll get to that next.
So you will have to wait for your Mafia hat. I know why he's asking that question.
Sorry. Yeah, you'll have to wait for the Mafia hat. All right. Was that was the last question, right?
Yeah, we need to keep the episode short. 2's good enough.
Okay. Let's go ahead and get David up here then. Hey, there he is.
It is
Welcome
me.
to Copi Cafe, David.
Thank you.
This is the big leak. We're finally able to tape. Yesterday we had some struggles, and now we get to tape it. So here we go. What are you drinking before we kick this off?
Fancy grape, raspberry, sparkling ice, 0 sugar. It's about as exciting as it sounds. So
sounds delightful. All right, man. Well, we have something big today. We have a big leak. You want to kick it off?
Yeah. I'll go ahead and share my screen now. I did this as a pre-recorded video anyway, just because these are very large landscapes, and I have sped up parts of it because it takes a pretty good amount of time to get around. In fact, this is, as you can see, this is Solace 3, and we're about to go through Solace 2 and Solace 1 a little bit as well. This is me actually looking for the canyon area of Solace 3, and I was actually getting lost. This is what actually happened.
First time anybody's seen Solace 3.
I think so.
It's the first time I've seen Solace 3.
Yeah.
Beautiful cliffs back there.
There's been a lot of work done by the team, something I call sort of geological flow. When we come into a landscape like this to do it first, there's kind of a base sculpt, and we sort of identify what's going to be the character of the land here. Solace 3 is ravines and canyons. Solace 2 is sort of inclines, mountain ranges, ridges. And Solace 1 is sort of these monuments and various different combinations of interesting rock formations. So
they're not a copy and paste of each other?
No, I mean, you definitely can't copy and paste this sort of thing. It's certainly every little bit that you see here is like hand touched by an artist. It's not to say that we don't have procedural ways of laying down certain things, or how the grass lays itself out, or how the bushes or certain rocks do. But, for the most part, all your large formations and hills and everything else, this has all been touched. An artist has viewed every section. And going to the land rush and the actual towns that we have around those, the incredible thing is we're delivering unique properties for everyone that are, hand laid by an artist. So
she's fast.
Yeah.
Hey,
speeding things up a little bit.
So it's a small amount of procedural generation. By the way, good job with the geology. I'm seeing some of the cliff areas where the sediment builds up at the bottom of the cliff. I mean, and that sort of thing. I mean, that's realistic.
That's something that the people in the environment team definitely study, and it's we even have them watching like YouTube videos on geology, things
Good.
like that. So
Yeah.
understanding that, oh, you have a cliff face here, this might be a plateau, and things have sheared off a cliff, and then you have erosion going
Yeah.
down with gravity this way, and what is formed by water and wind and things like that. There's a lot to think about in making an environment look as cool as these do right now. And I also want to preface this by saying this is not everything that you're seeing here right now. This is the base art pass. You're also going to have a lot of specialized areas that come up in the future. So if you look at Solace, and it's kind of a mixture of you got a lot of Colorado, you've got bits of Utah, and you'll eventually even have parts of Northern California. Areas like that. You might even see some redwoods eventually. So there's definitely going to be some special areas. And I would say even what you're seeing now, you're going to see some more stuff by the land rush, because there's going to be a lot of brush and things that you're not seeing right now. So that's coming. But this is really to give you an idea of the scale.
Yeah, we do have a good amount of planning to do around the special areas.
Yep.
Because that's a big part in my head. That's something I'm very excited about, is determining what's going to be, how many special areas on each that we'll start with. And I guess we can always add more in the future. But what are we going to start with? And then what are those going to be? There's a nice little aspen grove.
Yep, that's something. I know those are in Glimpse of Solace as well. You'll see Aspens are getting an update soon. So we're near. Yeah.
If this is the base, are you going to add stuff like maybe signposts and carriages or other kind of stuff dotted around?
All those little things. I mean, when we're coming in the land rush, it's like you're coming into it's like you're exploring. You're out there prospecting into this sort of raw landscape and kind of choosing your property, but you also have access to, I think we talked about before, the wrist device, being able to have a visualizer of where the plots are, where the towns are, as well as the resources around you. So the major resources. So,
right.
And down there in the bottom left-hand corner, some gray thing that's spinning.
Yeah, what is that? What is that?
Yeah. What are we hinting at there?
Yeah, that's the early stage of something that some people might have been asking for before, that might also relate to the land rush, but that's early stages right now. So we'll see when that comes into play.
Okay.
You're not going to say what it is? Can we say? I mean, I guess they know what it is.
I mean, it looks like a scanner or some sort of mini map. That's what it looks like to me. So.
All right, a leak within a leak.
Yeah, looks like I'm still lost here in Solace 3.
So how much area do you think you've covered so far? Because this is 8 kilometers by 8 kilometers, so this must just be the tiniest of the map.
Well, technically, it's a circle shape or a sphere, so it's a diameter of 8 kilometers, right? And then okay,
yeah, so
8 kilometers all the way across every from. As long as you go through the center, no matter what.
I think how that contrasts with, other games, though. If you look at even, I use New World as an example a lot. New World's got a map that's kind of the size of one of the Solaces, but Solace is going to feel a lot bigger than that. And that's because it is kind of a circle. It's not surrounded by water. These things are in big floating domes in the sky. You do have ponds and rivers and things like that, but there's not a lot of dead space, which you see in a lot of other games. So, and because it's circular, it's going to feel massive. People can literally get lost in here, and that's actually something that I like. And I feel like games that have exploration have kind of lost. I feel like players are almost always billboarded, directed to go a certain way. I think it's great if you can go out into the wilderness and feel like you don't know quite where you are.
Have chance encounters. Well, that's.
Yeah.
It's also realistic. I mean, you do typically, if you go to visit a mountain range or something, you have trails and trail maps. But if you just go out into the open, it's very easy to get lost.
Oh, yeah.
You're not
super easy.
Mindful of.
I got lost in Toledo to begin with, but I suppose after a while you'd get used to the landmarks and you'll get some kind of bearings, wouldn't you?
There are trails as well. Like, One thing that I really like about Souls 2 specifically is you have this sort of ridge and mountain range that's down the middle. And there's actually, in my head, I think of like the Appalachian Trail, but there's actually a trail you can follow all along that range that goes up high around the mountains and down. So definitely trails, and you can even see in the video here are something that are probably going to be a little safer to stick to from wild animals and things like that in the future. You will have what are essentially spawning areas for, and that little area off to the right might have bears, and it's a common area for bears or mountain lions, and it might be an area you want to avoid. So if you want to survive, sticking to the trail can be a little better for you. Also,
Whoa, look at this.
Oh, look, I found a canyon.
It's deep. Love it.
So this is just the beginning of the canyon. It keeps going and gets extremely deep and very tight in some spots, but
Very
that's
cool.
what sort of characterizes Solus 3.
So
It's also a long way down.
Whoa.
But
Yeah.
this as well as players having their own land plots, will these maps evolve? Will some of the canyons, maybe there'll be easier ways to get across them? Or do you always have to?
There's a chance for communities to work together and upgrade things like gaining bridges, going over a ravine or something like that in the future. There's definitely some planning around that. So we'll see how that plays out. I think it's really cool as sort of civilization grows, towns grow, your plot grows, and you start getting more amenities around. I think
that'll be really interesting, because that'll obviously need the community to go and get raw items, go and collect them.
Yep.
There's a lot, so that's
work together. I
Yeah.
mean, I love the collaborative.
maybe a
type
voting
stuff when we can get
system.
to that.
Yeah. I mean, so it will evolve, but it's
Yep.
literally in the community's hands how fast or where these amenities go.
This is a beautiful view right here.
Yeah. Actually, you see
I
this
would-
little open
I'll slap
area.
the plot down right there. Unlock it.
And the thing is, those mountains in the distance, they're not fake. If you eventually run far enough, you'll be able to climb right to the top. No
That
loading
is right.
screens once you're in here either, is there?
Yes,
You've got
no, there's no loading screens. So
You've got a path on some of these mountains where a trail where you can actually make your way to the top, correct?
Oh, and we're in Solace
Yes.
2 now. I've just noticed.
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention. Actually, this whole strip of land that you see right here is actually where a bunch of plots are. You can't see them in this view, but this is where somebody could live in the future. I do think it's a fantastic view. But yes, you see the top of the mountain there, right in front of us. You can go there. You're just going to have to spend the effort to do it.
So when the community actually come into these maps, that they're going to see it more advanced than this. This really is a really first look.
Yeah, it's very raw, but in this
not bad
raw
for raw.
state, without land plots, without anything, this is full. So this is past. Solace 1, 2, and 3 are almost past with the final art pass. We're pretty close. Is that an accurate statement?
Very, very, very close. So you'll see a few updates on certain things. You'll see a lot of extra brush and things like that. But there's definitely, when you're trying to do realistic, unique property, there's definitely an order that you want to go in these big worlds. Is you want to get that base stuff down. The towns are marked early on where the plots are going to be, but base art pass, then you get the actual plots laid down where you want them to go. After that, you get your resources in. So some of that stuff's in the process as well. And then in the future is where you start seeing little extra details and special areas pop up.
This is kind of the state that the testers see when they're looking for collisions, and they see it open like this.
Yep.
So how do we get?
It's meant to be very, very open. I actually tend to dislike a lot of over engineering of level design in a lot of open world games where it's like, let's block them every way they want to go and make them see what we want them to see. I think here at Cornucopias, we want it to be more like a natural environment, a natural wilderness.
Yeah,
I mean,
because
that's
we
done
can
for
take
certain.
creative measures to filling out the area and adding things to make it interesting.
Yep.
More and more over time. There's animals,
Will we ever
there's
be able to get into the
resources,
middle of that? Then?
there's NPCs, there's people. all
What was
the
that,
above.
Rob?
Sorry, Josh.
Yeah.
I got carried away.
It's too much excitement in here.
Yeah, I was looking at the screen. I didn't realize you were talking. Say that again, Josh.
Oh, no, I was just saying there's so much that we can add to this. David was talking about the large explorable area and these giant maps that there's so much space that you can get around in. And I'm saying over time, we will be able to add more and more content to really fill that with activity, from animals to NPCs to other characters playing the game, other avatars, to your property and how you're building that up, and all the different things that you'll be able to do as well, like fishing when we add that, or mining and all of those things. So
Yep. Also, something I wanted to mention really quick is you have like beautiful areas like this. This isn't exactly near a, it's not in a town area, but when you guys do the land rush and go around and look, for plots that you might be interested in, you might find like a small plot that's just out, far away from the town like this in a very rural area. And that might have a certain advantage. Those, there wouldn't be as many of them, but you might be closer to a mine or something like that. Downside being that you're further away from a town center where there's some other basic amenities, and also, accessing the surface station and leaving the sector. But that's just something to think about. I definitely think in the land rush, everyone needs to get out there and just, don't leave any stone unturned.
Yeah, and that the rarity of the land is decided by whoever claims it.
Yep, pretty much.
So that could just be a common in the middle of nowhere, or it could be a mythic.
Yep.
And then how many areas, I forget how many areas are there to enter into a dome. So, I mean, for those that aren't fully familiar with Cornucopias, if you're just watching this for the first time, we actually fly from Solace 1 to Solace 2 to Colito Valley Raceway. You fly from dome to dome, or in your own NFT vehicle, or in public transportation, whatever it may be. But then you enter the dome from beneath it, and you come up at certain entrance points, and you're going to have a system beneath this where you can pick an entrance point, correct?
Yeah, you want me to, at least for the land rush.
Take us on the journey from Colito.
Yeah. Let's go on a full journey. So Colito, you've got the whole landing and pad area that you have there. So for the land rush, you won't be flying your own vehicle to leave Colito, but you're going to be able to get on a public transport. You're going to go through a cloud gate. Colito is actually it's located a good ways from what we would say is actually Cornucopias over the Atlantic Ocean. So there is a cloud gate that allows you to sort of warp speed in between Colito and what we call our kind of global map. And Solace is one of the first areas when you get into that. When you arrive on the other side of that cloud gate, you're going to be flown to the sector hub, which is it's a center hub, and we've talked about this on Copi Cafe before. That has apartments at the top level, so like the sector resort. Then you have public transport and hangars in the middle, and below that is sort of your general parking for your own private vehicles. So a whole system there. But let's say you get off the public transport, you're going to have an option all around you. You'll be able to see all the Solaces in the air, and you can decide which one you want to go to. That'll take you on a high-speed trolley to the base of that sector. And when you go in there, you're going to get a choice of 12 elevators that take you to the different 12 towns that are in each one of the Solace sectors. We're in Solace 1 now. Obviously here, and here's where all the interesting formations like a butte there to the left are showing up. But I don't want to talk too much. you guys probably have a few things to say.
No, so you get off in the sector hub. You get on the kind of the hyperloop. You decide whether you want to go in Solace 1, 2, or 3. They're all the same. When you get to that Solace, you then have 12 lifts, like you're saying. Then I suppose you hit a loading screen.
There is a loading screen between the global map and the actual sectors themselves, because there's a ton of data and things that have to be updated when you're going into there, and that's on a different instance. And
then once you're in that Solace map, though, you've got that whole map with no loading screens. And I think did you also say there's some kind of well, I mean, you explain the different ways of getting from one town to another town, or district to district.
Yeah, so intersector travel. So actually, once you come up into a town, let's say it's Little Monument in Solace 2, you're there. That surface station's kind of below ground, so it doesn't really disturb the view, but you can actually go over, and there's actually a train system that runs beneath the ground for all 12 of the towns. So if you want to get to the other side, you don't necessarily have to run to the other side. You can actually just get on a train to go there. But there will be advantages in the future of having your own mount, hoverboard, horse, things like that to get around, because there's a lot of in-betweens on the, where the town's trains aren't going to take you to.
Well, you can go to all the 12 different towns via this train, overground, underground, using mounts, on foot.
Mm-hmm.
No loading screens, a whole 8 kilometers by 8 kilometers with all these other players in and out of land plots. Incredible.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
All of it. I'm loving these cinematics you've done in Solace 1. Really, really fun shots here.
Yeah, I thought instead of running around and getting lost, we would just show some of the formations there. Solace 1 has been shown the most out of all the Solaces. So, but
yeah, but there's a lot here that hasn't been shown, so this is
great. That's true.
Yeah, yeah, a good amount here.
Yeah.
I mean, most of this. There's a few. I saw that one epic shot from Solace 1 that was built prior to the first land sale.
Oh yeah,
that had the hot air balloons. That was yeah. So a lot of good, a couple good memorable shots, and then most of this is completely new. Nobody's seen this before.
Yeah. I can't wait for everyone to just, go right into those and be able to explore. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I want to lead up to what I think is actually the biggest leak of this episode. The next build that we're going to see is the consensus build. So that will have obviously updates to racing. We'll be able to save to databases. We'll have leaderboards. That's the consensus build. Then I think the build after that will take slightly longer because we're preparing for, and then that next build, I think it's that next build, which one of these Solaces are we going to see? Because I think this is the biggest leak.
So, yeah, let me just go back to consensus build. And the land rush is a big one. There's a lot of things that have to go right. So, to the community here, you're going to have a more extended time than you're used to until we get to that land rush build. But we're going to also try to make sure you have as much interesting, marketing stuff, letting you see what's going on in the process coming up to that. But yes, when land rush happens, everyone has access to all 3 Solaces for the land rush. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Build. So
all
coming
3
out of the blocks with traveling from Kalido through the Cloud Gate, all 3 Solaces, all the way back to Kalido. Is that possible?
Yep. We definitely want to go back to Kalido. What if you want to go race?
I'm looking forward to it. Are we going to call it a prospecting build release? I don't know.
I'm so curious how many of the original landholders are going to get in and select a property, because there's some of us might be going, man, I don't know, I want to make sure I have a property in Esperanza, Solace, and Fortune, or I definitely want to get a great pick in Solace. And it's just I'm curious like what that's going to look like, how many people will be active at that point, because we've been through quite a bit, a long bear. And it's just an interesting question in my mind. But this is incredibly. I mean, Rob, you can't say that. That is a huge leak. Like Solace 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. They're on their final art pass stages. You guys have done a remarkable job. That doesn't mean we're almost ready to go. We do have a lot to do before we do that land plot release. So we get past consensus, and then you guys are hitting the ground running on prepping that for the land plot selection, and that build will. We're not announcing a date yet,
but people will have time to explore that amount of area before we actually do the land rush, won't they?
That's one thing I wanted to mention, is just to sort of reiterate how the land rush is happening. Is if you're going to play the game, you're going to go in, visit the Solaces. You're going to have some time to go around, prospect, look at the different towns, look at the different plots, and you have your land deeds. And the actual land rush that's going to be done on the website. So you're going to have kind of the map views of Solace 1, 2, and 3 on the website. But in game, you're able to see, you have a wrist mounted computer that sort of allows you to see a holographic visualization of these plots, and they will have a serial number there. So if you're, you found that lucky, tiny little plot in the middle of the woods there away from everyone else, you would get the serial number there, and, prepare yourself for when the moment the land rush opens, so you can make, attach that to your land deed, and that becomes yours. So it's going to be super exciting. It's going to be a little sweaty, I think, for some people.
You'll be able to prospect in game, and if you haven't got access to the game, you'll be able to watch YouTubes, but you'll also have this large website where you'll be able to go around again, and and I'm sure we'll have
prospect.
tours.
But just to define that, prospecting is you can run around, look at all the various things, so you get a plenty of opportunity to just really explore and decide where you want to be. Which you're not going to be able to explore everything, even if that's an entire month that we have it open, or even 2 months for prospecting. That's a lot of space to explore. You're not going to get all of that completely done. But and then there's the selection process too, right? That's going to be on a browser. That's what we've discussed, correct?
With the aerial, what are essentially aerial maps of the Solaces. Right. So I think that's something from the community too. They can probably tell us how long do they want to have to prospect for land. So is 1 week enough? Probably not. 2 weeks? Is a month too long? Tell us.
Yeah.
we kind of want to know what you think.
Give us your thoughts on that, please. Yeah. Comment in the description, in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you on that. But so one last question for you. In terms of the towns, what can they expect to see in the towns? Some people might think, well, I kind of want to be close to a town. I may not.
Okay.
Are they going to see buildings and that sort of thing?
So towns, if you talk about this is not something you're really going to see for the land rush. The land rush is more just wilderness and selecting plots, but a town center is where you have access to the surface station. When you think of a town center, you think of various buildings. So there might be shops, general stores, things like that, merchants that are around that spot, as well as access to some of the lower crafting specialization tables. So that could be a value to somebody. I think it'll be free players will probably frequent those areas a lot because they want access to those things. But, what I would do is I'd want to be as far away from everything as possible. That's just my personal thing. I'd want to be that guy out there in the woods with the mountain beard. It's like, get off my property. Yeah, shotgun. What are you doing here? So that would be me. So
all right. Well, you've seen it. This is Solace 1, 2, and 3. Do you guys have anything else before we wrap it up?
I think we showed a lot there.
I mean, that was enormous. It's beautiful, and it was so good to be able to see so much of that that I haven't seen yet. Mm-hmm. I'm blown away as usual. I'm so excited for how this unfolds. Hopefully, you guys loved it. Please, well, I guess it's a little late to say this. We'll put a note in the comments, but if you did watch this in low quality on your YouTube or whatever, please just ramp up the quality, because you definitely want to see this as crisp as you can, because it's remarkable from that viewpoint. All right. Thanks, everybody. This has been Copi Cafe 91. You've seen it. Solace 1, 2, and 3 coming soon. Have a good evening. Week. See you next time.
Don't care what you say. I don't care what you say.